One of the most challenging things for people who are trying to grab a data science job role is to do end-to-end meaningful projects and then adding it to their portfolio. This is something which can grab recruiters' attention and will help you to get shortlisted for an interview. And just to fill this gap, people are spending a lot of time, money and effort into back-to-back courses and boot camps, which I don't think it is really required. Because within this video, I am going to create an end-to-end data science project that also within 30 minutes with the help of ChatGPT.
So this is the notebook that we are going to use today. I have renamed it as calorie burn prediction. In the first cell, I'm starting by importing some basic libraries that we're gonna use throughout this notebook. And on the next cell, I'm importing the data. I'm also reading this data over here, and you can see it has few columns like gender, age, height, weight, etc. in order to predict the calories burnt by an individual. So this is the information that we have so far. We just have a raw data in CSV file that we have imported with the help of pandas library. And from now onwards, going ahead, I'm going to take the help of ChatGPT without getting involved in this project in order to create an end-to-end data science project. So this entire project will be created with the assistance of ChatGPT. Again, I'm saying this video is not to encourage you to leverage ChatGPT's capability to do your end-to-end task, but this is just to give you an overview that how your work in terms of completing an end-to-end data science project can be completed, that also without any mentor, even if you are a beginner. So let's shift our focus to ChatGPT now. In the first prompt itself, I'm asking ChatGPT to act like an experienced data scientist and help me with the below questions. If you will use a prompt like this, it helps the AI to function in a better way. And on the very next prompt, I'm giving the entire data set, first 4 records at least, so that ChatGPT can analyze it. So I'm telling ChatGPT that I'm working on a calorie burn prediction project, and here is how the data looks like. And then I have pasted first 4 records of the head. And pay attention that ChatGPT is smart enough to get an entire overview on this data set. It has identified that we have a data set with several variables that could be used to predict the number of calories burned during the activity. And it is also suggesting us to perform some EDA task to understand the distribution of the variables and if we have any potential missing values or outliers. And lots of ideas and suggestions that we can use in the process of EDA or statistical analysis. Since we have done no work so far on the data set, I'm straight away asking ChatGPT that can you please give me the code to analyze the shape, data type, and the null values within the data set. And here you go. ChatGPT has given me the entire code to do the task. I'm simply going to copy the code and then I will paste it on my Jupyter notebook. Since we are already done loading the data set, so I am going to delete this part of code. Then I will add few cells over here. And let's start by checking the shape of the data. And we can see we have 15,000 records and 9 columns. On the next cell, we will check the data type. So I'm going to paste it over here. And here it is. And then finally, we will check for the null values. So I will cut and paste it over here. And thankfully, we do not have any null values for this particular data set. But this might not be the case with you. Possibly, you may have a data set that has lots of potential null values or outliers. In that case, you can ask ChatGPT to give you the code to tackle these issues. So I'm asking that, can you please give me the code to drop the records with the null values from the data set? And ChatGPT has given the task for me. It has given me the code. Although it is not required currently for the project that we are working, but still, in case you need any help to do the feature engineering or data cleaning, you can ask ChatGPT straight away and it will give you the code. It will not only give you the code, it will also explain you that how you should use the code and what does it mean. And dropping the records is not the only solution. I'm also asking ChatGPT that if it can give me the code to replace the null values with the mean value of the column, which is one of the ways to tackle missing values. And it has precisely done the task for me. It has given me the code to do the thing. Not only that, also explaining the meaning for the code. So this is absolutely amazing. Okay, so far with the help of ChatGPT, we are able to perform some basic EDA on our data set. But now I want to perform some statistical checks on it. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT for that. So I'm asking here that give me the code to check the statistical summary of the data. And it has done the task for me. So I will copy the code. I will paste it over here. And since we are done loading the data set, so of course I'm going to remove this part and we are only going to print this particular code. Okay, so it is giving us the results, but it does not look like in a good format. What I think is it will be better if we just not print it and use the describe method straight away. Let's see that. Yes, so it looks better now. The readability has been enhanced, and you can see this is the entire statistical summary of the data set. And we can see that our data set has a mix of continuous variable and categorical variables. We can check that by using this particular code. So you can see the gender variable is the only categorical variable, and rest of the others are continuous variables. And now I am interested to visualize this data. So I have asked ChatGPT to give me the code to visualize the data distribution for continuous variables. And it has given me a beautifully written code along with the comments, etc. So I'm simply going to copy it and paste it over here. As usual, we are going to remove this part to load the data set. I don't know why it is pasting it again and again. So let's understand what it is doing exactly. First of all, it is creating a variable, a list, where it is storing all the continuous variables, and then it is iterating through the list and plotting each variable. Then it is creating a histogram and kernel density plot for each continuous variable. So let's just run this cell. So this block is creating the box plots, and the other block of code is creating the histogram. That also for all the continuous variables. And it has done the thing beautifully. You can see. First, it is creating the box plot for all the continuous variables. This one is for heart rate, and then this one is for body temperature. Followed by that, it is also creating a beautiful histogram chart for each and every continuous variable. Okay, so far we have done the EDA thing. We have checked the statistics of the data and visualized it without any effort, all with the help of ChatGPT. So I'm going to compress this part like this. Okay, and now I think the next part should be checking the correlation with the variables. So let's do that. So I have asked ChatGPT that I want to plot the correlation heat map for the entire data set, and please write the code for me. And it has done the thing. So I will copy the code. I will paste it over here. Let me remove this part quickly. And then this block of code should plot a heat map that shows us the correlation with each and every feature. There we have a beautifully plotted heat map that is showing us the correlation for each and every feature. And this multicolor correlation heat map looks really nice. We can see that with respect to our target variable, which is calories burned, there are few features which is not holding a very good correlation, like this one, age, height, and weight. So I am interested to drop these features. But I don't want to hard code it, because when you're working in a scalable system, ideally, being a good data scientist, you should write a program that is smart enough to filter all the features by itself, which is not correlated with the final target variable. So instead of taking load for that, I'm going to ask for help to ChatGPT. So I'm asking, write a function that will create a data set with the features that holds a good correlation with the target variable. And ChatGPT is smart enough to understand that. It has given me the code. So I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. I have already imported pandas, so I'm going to remove this part. And this is the function. This is the function that will create a new data set by filtering the features which does not hold a good correlation with the target variable. So I'm simply going to run it. Okay. Followed by that, in the ChatGPT's response, it has also given me the code where it is telling me by an example that how can we use the function. This is brilliant. So I'm going to copy it. Again, I will paste it here. So when I ask ChatGPT to write me a function to filter out not so correlated features from the data set, it has not only written me the function, but it has also telling me the way that how can we exactly use the function. We are already done loading the data set. So I will again remove this part, and selected data will be the newly created data that will contain all the variables which has a good correlation with the target variable. And then it is applying the select features function, which we have mentioned over here. As a parameter, it is passing on the data set that we have. Secondly, the target variable, which is calories, and then the threshold value. So you can mention a value over here. If a given feature is holding a threshold value of 0.5 or greater than this, that particular feature will be included in the final data set. Otherwise, it will be discarded. For the time being, I don't want to save it. So I will comment this out and I will run only this block of code. So there we have. So let me quickly print this data set. which is selected underscore data, and I want to print the head of the data. Okay, so I can see this final data set contains the features but not the target variable that we have. Why is that? Okay, so within the function we can see this piece of code. Okay, this is preventing the target variable to be included within the final data set, because the target variable will have a correlation of 1 with itself, and this is why that is not being included. So what I'm going to do, let me just remove this piece of code. Okay, I'll run it again. I'm going to rename this part as only data. So I will run this one, and then we will print the final data. So I'm going to run this one. And this time the final data set also contains the calories. So we are done doing the EDA. We are done doing the statistical checks, also checked the correlation and little bit of feature engineering. In your case, with the projects that you're working with, feel free to explore the capabilities of ChatGPT even further. But for the time being, I think that I'm good with this particular data set. And now it is time that we train a machine learning model to do the prediction. So I'm casually asking ChatGPT that according to you, which machine learning model can perform the best here for this regression problem. And since ChatGPT has a capability of remembering the previous chat, so it precisely understands that for which use case I'm talking about. So it is answering me that based on the data set that I have provided, the goal is to predict the number of calories burned based on the given feature. And this is a regression problem where several machine learning models can be used. So it is suggesting me linear regression, decision trees, random forest, and gradient boosting. So now I'm asking ChatGPT to write a code that trains all the above mentioned models one by one, and then going by the evolution, we will pick the best performing model. And it has understood my intention and it has given me the entire code to do the thing. So I'm simply going to copy it. I will paste it over here, and instead of running the entire block of code, I'm going to go step by step. So I'm going to add few cells over here. Then let me first start from importing some basic libraries in case I'm missing out on something. There we go. In case you're getting any error with respect to importing any of these libraries, then please consider using pip install from your Windows PowerShell or CMD, and that should be enough to resolve the issue. Instead, I would suggest that you ask ChatGPT itself by pasting the error message that you get and let ChatGPT help you with that. Of course, I'm going to remove this piece of code, which is importing the file. And then we are going to split the data in two different data frames, X and Y. And we have our data named as data, not as DF. So I'm going to rename it. And then I'm simply gonna run this cell. There we go. On the next line, we will have to do a train test split. So I'll paste it over here. Again, I will run this cell. Okay, no errors so far. And then starting from this point over here, it is training 4 different machine learning models. First is linear regression, then decision trees, then random forest, and gradient boosting. So there is one bagging and one boosting technique that we have. The very next block of code is fitting the X train and Y train data on each and every model respectively, and then using the X test data to do the prediction by each and every model. We are storing the mean squared error value in each of these variables and R2 score within these variables. And then for each and every machine learning model, we are printing the R2 score and root mean square error over here. So I'm simply gonna run this code, and it is going to take some time because it is training. Okay, it is done for me. Of course, because the data set is not that large and my local machine isn't that bad. So we have these 4 values for the root mean square error and these 4 as the R2 score. Let me also add one print statement over here so that it enhances the readability. There we go. So going by the root mean square error, we can see gradient boosting algorithm is doing the best, and it also has the best R2 score. You can also try different types of machine learning models if you want over here. But since I'm slightly biased towards random forest model, believing that it will do better in terms of new data, I am asking ChatGPT to give me the code to serialize the random forest model using pickle file. So I want to use a pickle module in order to serialize the random forest model, because I don't want to stop here when we are doing most of the task in fact, all of the tasks with the help of ChatGPT. So I want to take this project further in order to create an end-to-end data science project. And this is going to be extremely helpful, especially for those who are trying to add projects to their portfolio in order to get into analytics or data science field. Because most of the people who are struggling in order to get a job, they either lag in skills or they lag in good projects within their portfolio. Of course, the Titanic dataset or the house price prediction or the breast cancer dataset isn't enough to make you land a job. And this is where you feel the necessity of doing end-to-end projects and adding them to your portfolio. So ChatGPT has given me the code to serialize the random forest model. So I'm going to copy it. I will paste it over here. Of course, we need to remove this entire part because we have already done it. And then we will simply serialize the model like this. Okay, it is giving me an error saying pickle is not defined. Extremely simple. I will just have to add import pickle over here. That's it. And then I will again run the code. Done. Okay, so we have serialized the machine learning model that has all the parameters that it has learned in order to perform well with our calories burned prediction dataset. And guess what? After giving me the code to serialize the model, ChatGPT has also given me the code to deserialize the model and use it for further prediction. So I will just copy the code from here. I will paste it like this, and then it is again importing the pickle module, which is not important. And then it is loading the serialized model with this block of code. And it is doing predictions like this. Maybe ChatGPT is not able to understand that I have not included all the columns over here. I have used only 3 columns, which is duration of exercise, heart rate, and body temperature. So we need to keep only 3 input variables. So this is where we need to make some changes. And it also answers the question that for the time being, AI is definitely not going to take away your jobs. It is going to make your job easier, but it still needs your involvement within the field of data science. So I will remove these values from here and let me use a record from the data set itself. So let's use this one, 14, 94 and 40. So instead of that, I'm going to use 15, 95 and 40. And let's see, the prediction should be very close to 66. So I'm going to give it 15 as duration, 95 as heart rate, and 40 as body temperature, and let the model do the prediction. So I will hit enter. So it is giving the value of 86 calories burned. Let me use a different record this time. So I'm going to use this one, 13, 140, and prediction should be close to 71. Of course, I'm not going to use the exact values. So I'll say 14, then 140, and prediction is 79. Okay, good enough. But as I said earlier, considering this as a real life project, I'm not interested to pass on the Jupyter notebook to my stakeholders. Instead, I'm interested to develop or create an app looking interface which will be more user friendly and that utilizes the machine learning model in the backend to do the prediction. So this is where the real fun starts. So I am asking ChatGPT that I have kept only 3 columns. I'm precisely mentioning them, saying duration, heart rate, and body temperature in my data set to predict calorie burnt value. Could you write an entire function using streamlit library to create simple application that will take input for these 3 independent variables, and then using the serialized random forest pickle file, it will show the predicted value on the interface. It did not take much time to give me the entire code over here. So let me do one thing. I will quickly go to the file location and I will quickly open my PyCharm over there in order to create a new app file, because I don't think that a streamlit application will be able to run over the Jupyter notebook. So this is the location where we were working so far. It has the notebook, it has the data, and it has the serialized model. And now I'm going to open a new file over here with the help of my PyCharm application. So I have opened the same path over here that has all the files right here on the left hand side. And then I'm going to click on file and then new, and I will create a new file saying app.py. And over here, I'm going to use the code that ChatGPT has provided us in order to create the application with the help of Streamlit library. So I'm going to copy the code and then I will paste it over here. So it is starting by importing the Streamlit and pickle library. Then it is deserializing the random forest file. And then it is defining the Streamlit application over here. So these 3 are the input columns where the application is asking you for the input values. And this is where the prediction is happening. So without thinking much about it, I'm straight away going to run this entire block of code to understand if ChatGPT was able to understand what we have asked for it. So I'm going to say streamlit space run app.py. I'm going to press enter. It will take some time, but it will run eventually, and it has. So by default, using my Edge browser, it is now opening or trying to open the application, and it is doing something. I'm quite excited for it. Let's see. Okay. It is unbelievable. It has really created the application that I exactly wanted. Without doing anything from my end, ChatGPT was able to understand what I wanted exactly, and it has done the thing for me. I think within a very short amount of time, within 10 to 15 minutes, it has helped me with the end-to-end project. Just try to imagine, with this speed, you can create even 5 to 10 end-to-end projects within one single day. And this will be extremely helpful for you, especially when you're trying to get into analytics or hunt a new job within the field of data science. So by default, I can see that it is predicting a value of 2.64. I think this is a prediction when all the input values will be 0. So let's do one thing. I will go back to the data set over here, and I'm going to use these records like close to 10, 80 and 40. Let's do that. The output should be very close to 35 or let's say 40. So this value will be 10 and this one will be 80. By the way, you can also use these buttons that ChatGPT has provided, and let's keep the body temperature as 40. Okay, so we do not need to use any predict button over here. The prediction value has been calculated on the fly. So we were expecting a value closer to 35 and we got it. To be very honest, this is good. This is really good. But what I want is, I don't want the predicted value to be generated or printed on the fly. Instead, I want to use a predict button in order to see the predicted value. Secondly, I also don't want these many characters after the decimal. So let's do one thing. Let's ask ChatGPT to do the thing for us, because we are super lazy and we do not want to get involved. So first I have said, I want the predicted value to be printed as exactly 2 number after decimal. And just after saying this, it has modified the entire code for me. So I don't think this time I need to copy the entire code. Instead, if I'll simply use this line that shows the predicted calorie burnt value with 2 decimal places, I think this is exactly what we need. So I'll copy this thing. I will paste it over here, replacing this block of code. And I'm going to relaunch the application by closing this terminal. So let me again do streamlit run app.py. Okay, let's see. Although this was not a big change, to be honest, but I'm still excited to see the output. And there we go. Let me give the input values 10, heart rate, let's say 80, body temperature, let's say 40. We have exactly 2 values after the decimal for the predicted value. This is really good. But as I said earlier, I don't like to see this in this style. I want a predict button over here to make it look more professional. So I'm asking ChatGPT that instead of showing the predicted value on the fly, I want to use a predict button, and please modify the code accordingly. It did not take time to give me the output, and it was really nice the way it is modifying the code over here by adding a button. So I will simply copy this block of code and I will paste it over here. Nice. So I'm going to launch a new terminal and let's say streamlit run app.py. Let me run it, and it is launching the application. Let's see if we have got the predict button or not. It is, and we have got it. We really got the predict button. Now we just need to see how it is working. So I will input the values. Let's say 10. Again, the same input values, 80, body temperature as 40. Okay, let's see. There we go. Absolutely brilliant. The exact project that I wanted to have within my portfolio that I want to show to the recruiters when I'm pitching for a job. Now, there are few things that I want to highlight really fast. First of all, I decided to go with a Streamlit application, but if you're comfortable with a Flask application, you can go with that as well. I prefer to go with Streamlit because I did not want to get into the hassle of creating the HTML and CSS file, because to be honest, I am really not that good in terms of working on the front end interface. And when you're doing it with the help of Streamlit, you do not really need to take the load of creating an HTML file and all those things. It is really easy. But again, going by the preference, if you are comfortable working with a Flask application, give the prompt accordingly to ChatGPT and it will help you with that. Secondly, this entire video was not to promote the misuse of ChatGPT or any AI tool that looks like cheating. Also, there are a lot of people who struggles to understand that from which source they should rely on in order to do end-to-end projects. And just for this particular help, people are enrolling themselves back to back into courses. See, this is not required. You just go to Kaggle and pick a data set from a domain that excites you, where you are interested. It could be from healthcare, it could be from finance, or let's say time series forecasting, etc. And after picking that data set, after picking the project, utilize your own thinking and the help of AI tool like ChatGPT to do the entire thing like EDA, statistical analysis, feature cleaning, data cleaning, feature engineering, pre-processing, then training different types of models, and then finally creating an application like this. And then I don't think that you will still feel the need of help from anyone else in order to become prepared enough to land a job. Anyways, enough talking. So we have created the application. The very next thing that comes into my mind is there a way that ChatGPT can also help us in order to deploy this model? So I asked ChatGPT saying, you help me creating an end-to-end data science project. Could you also suggest me some ideas on how to deploy this model on cloud platforms for free of cost? And the very first way of deploying the model it has suggested is deploying it on Heroku. Of course, we know that ChatGPT has been trained with the data limited to the year of 2021. So most probably it does not know yet that deploying our applications of Heroku platform is no longer free. So I had to tell this to ChatGPT. So I'm saying Heroku is no longer free for hosting apps. Could you explain the steps in details on how to deploy this on AWS? And it has given me a step-by-step approach on how can I deploy this to AWS platform. And it is really nice. It has explained each and every steps in detail, explaining that how can we deploy this application on S3 bucket. So I leave this to you as a homework or task that you not only stop over here creating your application, but you also try to deploy it. After deploying the application, you also take out the link and paste it on your GitHub profile within the project itself, where the recruiters will be able to make a click that will redirect them straight away to your application that you have created. So that's it, guys. I hope that you liked this video. If yes, do let me know your thoughts within the comment section below. And accordingly, I will create more videos going ahead within this channel.
Okay, so that was it for today's video. I hope that you found it useful. If yes, then please consider dropping a like below. Show your support by sharing the video and also subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed. Also, do not forget checking out the other videos that we have uploaded on this channel that are meant to answer your doubts and queries
Related to field of analytics and data science.
Thank you very much for watching till the end. You have a nice day ahead.